Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. And as always on this channel, it is Cheltenham this weekend, and we are all very, very much excited for it. The Cheltenham December Meeting, a nice 2-day meeting on the Friday and the Saturday that we're going to get stuck into. A little bit of a different video this week, though. We're going to be looking at Cheltenham. We're also going to be looking at potential anti-post plays for the future and anything else we fancy on this weekend. So there will be, as always with this show, when it's been released on a Wednesday, it's an anti-post look to the weekend, and we're going to have an anti-post pick in itself for the future, whether it's Cheltenham or Christmas period of racing. Gentlemen, should be a nice couple of days of action. It's been a nice couple of weeks of action, I must say. I've been really enjoying the racing recently, apart from the tough weather that's been about the place. Harry, I hear down the grapevine you'll be making the trek to Cheltenham this weekend.
I fingers crossed anyway, if there's no more train delays or train cancellations. Myself and a few others, we will be heading down to Gloucestershire to obviously to Prestbury Park. I can't wait. It's been my first trip this season. I didn't manage to get to the November meeting or the October meeting. So even though I've got the membership, it's not been put to good use so far. But it'd be good to get back to Cheltenham and see your pretty face anyway. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mate.
No, it should be very, very good. There is a spare piece of floor here if you ever need it. I say that nicely, but don't ever please knock on my door. Lee, Cheltenham this weekend. It's been a nice couple of weekends of action, but there should be some good horses. And always in the December Gold Cup, it's an interesting handicap, so should be quite good this weekend.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, cracking action as always. Like I said, the Cheltenham is making the sort of highlight of this weekend. We're going to have a little anti-post look as well towards the weekend and future on as well. So that'll be on later in the video. Gentlemen, we'll get cracking with the action this weekend. We're going to be covering two of the main races. The December Gold Cup is where we're going to look at first of all. Nice contest. We've already sort of spoke about the December Gold Cup a little bit on our Sunday show, which make sure to go check that out on the 7 till 8 on Sunday evenings. The recordings on our Twitter. So if you did miss last weekend's, do have a look over there. But the market is headed by Thunder Rock. Now, we had some opinions on this horse on the show. 7-2 being backed for Ollie Murphy and the McNeil family and Ian Dale owning the horse. Monmoral seeing a little bit of money, and Harry Cobden's going to be on board as announced by Paul Nicholls, 6-1. So Scotch is in there at 6-1 for Emmett Mullins. Il Rodotto, the other Paul Nicholls runner, at 7s. Faki Duderi, will he make the trek over? 9-1. Easy as that, 10s. Bigger about the rest. Lee, I'll throw it over to you first of all. December Gold Cup. Is it Thunder Rock still from what you were saying on Sunday?
Yeah, Thunder Rock. Look, even Stevie Wonder could see that. So last season, Solo, he beat Solo in a handicap of 142. He goes off 146 now. That was by 8.5 lengths. Absolutely bolted up. Was third to the Real Whacker and the Dipper, staying on, only beaten around 3.5 lengths there. Obviously, the Real Whacker went on to win the Brown Advisory. He was third to Jerry Colomb as well. Monmoral was in that race. Long way beat it Sandown, but beaten only about 5 lengths by Jerry Colomb, who's obviously a Gold Cup contender now. Last season as well, ended by second to That's All Right Gino. It was obviously went on to win the Coral Gold Cup, and then also last time out beat Marla Mission, the Colin Parker Memorial at Carlisle, and Marla Missions went on to run second to That's All Right Gino in the Coral Gold Cup there. So the form is left, right and centre. Easy for everyone to see. It was soft last time out, over 2 mile forward. Noah stay as well. As Sean went third in that Dipper as well, stayed on strongly. Off a fair enough mark. Anybody can see it really, but Thunder Rock's the obvious one.
Yeah, Thunder Rock top in the market. He's been well found in the market, that's for sure. Harry, are you also with Thunder Rock as well?
Yeah, I echo everything Lee's just said. There's not really much point in me going into even more detail. However, just touching on Thunder Rock's record when won his second race of his seasonal reappearance. So obviously he went to Utox the first time up last year. He beat Brief Times by 4 lengths, and then obviously he went to Ascot about just short of a month later and beat Solar by 8 lengths. He's been to Cheltenham a couple of times now. Obviously he was third in the Dipper and obviously 6th in the Brown Advisory. So listen, he's got course form. he won't mind the soft ground at all. And now he's a 7-year-old. He looks a little bit more mature as well, which he's a classy animal. So I think he should be bang there. My only thing would be that I just worry that there's going to be something lurking in the handicap that's ridiculously well treated. So Scottish hasn't shown much at all for his last, I'd probably say 3 runs. But obviously, if you go back to Ascot this time around last year, he was only a length behind Boots Hill. So he's a horse that would certainly be, I'd be worried of if Emmett Mullins decided to throw a claimer on board. But look, for me, Thunder Rock, I said it on the Sunday show, I really fancied him and I still do fancy him. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, Thunder Rock, I'm going to keep on side. Like 7-2 is on that short side of things. I am going to keep him on side for sure. Like, like Lee and Harry said there, the case is fairly obvious, but he's been running into these nice horses, and they are sort of horses he's running into are sort of those mid 150s, potentially lurking on 160 kind of horses, and he is rated 146, so he could feasibly be well handicapped by a couple of pounds, but he will have to be very much on the top of his game. And one thing is that his staying, I think I spoke to Max McNeil November time, ahead of the November meeting, talking about Thunder Rock, and he said, look, I just don't think he stayed at 3 miles. And he was just like thinking, we're maybe going to go 1965 chase, potentially Peterborough chase with him. Obviously landed here, new course at Cheltenham, does promote a little bit of stamina coming out of these horses. So be interesting to see how he goes. I've because of that, I've taken a small little swipe on So Scottish. I think he's sort of the more unexposed type in here to potentially improve past this mark of 141. I don't think Emmett Mullins needs to really reach for a claimer here. I think he's sort of okay off his sort of current mark. He's shown enough in what I've seen in the fact that he finished second to Boot Hill at Ascot when Boot Hill was just rated 140. Boot Hill's improved £18 since. So Scottish was rated 135 at the time. Obviously improved £6 from that, but Boot Hill's improved massively, and he gave a good run as well. And he was staying on the line. I think he showed really. I think he showed a lot of character that day. That was over 2 mile 1. Then was, he ran in the plate. I think a bit disappointing around there, but that was off a massive layoff. They obviously were going to go there fresh with him, but potentially maybe just having a little bit under, or those fitter rivals in there. But he did finish 7th, but it was a bit disappointing. And then he unseated his rider at Punchestown. He's come back this season. He's ran a fair enough race over 2 miles just to blow the cobwebs off. I think he has a lovely stride on him. This would suggest that soft ground isn't too much of an issue. Most of this one comes on decent ground, which would be a small worry in the back of my head. But looking at actually how he goes through his races, he's got a lovely long stride, and hopefully he should be okay. If the ground does quicken up, that obviously be to his liking, but look, it's fresh, new course ground. It hasn't been raced on for 2 meetings, so I give So Scotch a potential swipe. 6-1. That's a fair enough each way price for me, but obviously all 3 of us are keeping Thunder Rock very much on side in the December Gold Cup. Gentlemen, we'll move on to the other race we're going to be covering. It is the only other graded race of the weekend. It's the Grade 2 Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, not to be mistaken by the one in a few months' time at the Cheltenham Festival. It's the 3 o'clock on Saturday, and heading the market is Chanel Bob for Nicky Henderson, Nico de Boinville in those Donnelly silks, obviously Alboon Photo, Shishkin, you name all the horse you like. Destroy the Evidence, Kim Bailey 5-1. Dan Skelton's represented by a runner, Illico de Cotte 7-1. Cadwell for Lucinda Russell, and John McConnell has a couple in here. Dripsy Moons is shortest price at 8-1. Harry, I'll stick with you. What do you fancy in this?
Yeah, Shanna Bob beat obviously All the Glory at Plumpton last time out. So that was his first go over hurdles after winning his point-to-point. John Joe O'Neill chucked a £7 claimer in James Smith on All the Glory that day. So Shanna Bob did pretty well to give a lot of weight away on his first start, and he was very green. James Bowen almost... for those that have never watched racing, it looked like he was pretty busy in the saddle for quite a long way out. But you always did feel like James Bowen had enough under him, and he went away at the line by 7 lengths. But I think this Destroy the Evidence at 5-1, I think it's a big price, Ash. He beat a horse called Della Casalunga and Baddesley in a handicap hurdle at Kempton last time out. That was in a 0-120, so he's obviously going to have to step up again. He's got a £7 claim, £7 rise from that. And he was running out the handicap last time out. So I think to carry 12 stone 2 on around Kempton against unexposed horses, I thought it was a pretty good effort. He's a horse who certainly jumps well. He obviously got beaten by Butch last time he went left-handed around Southwell and that was in a novices hurdle. That was. I mean, to be fair, we've seen that form being franked already. That horse, Butch of Ollie Murphy's, came out and won the. It was the novices hurdle at Cheltenham, wasn't it? He beat. I can't think of Gavin Cromwell's horse. He beat into second. Probably one of you boys.
Right? In October,
Yeah, Antrim Coast. That was it. Antrim Coast. So he beat that horse by a neck, obviously. So I think the form stacks up. I just think he's at 5-1. He's a lively player. The Skelton horse, he had every chance at Lingfield last time out, and Dan Skelton was. I remember actually was on at the races prior to the race, and he was pretty bullish. So he was right in saying he should have been bullish because he only went down by a nose, and I think the others have got to step up. If I'm being genuinely honest, so for me, destroy the evidence at 5-1, but I would not be surprised if this Shanna Bob is a class above or just ridiculously well talented, I should say.
Yeah, it could be a class above Lee. Obviously, destroy the evidence for Harry. Just a general assessment of this race. What do you sort of make of it on first glance?
Look, Shanna Bob there is favourite kind of by default. Look, it's a £200,000 purchase there. 1 over 2 mile for the last time it plumped in by 7 lengths. Donnelly colours, Nicky, it's put in by default. I would have probably said it's not got the best of form in here, but it has potential for more. James Bowen says that didn't handle Plumpton, looked awkward to me, and I'm glad that he come out and said that because wouldn't have been backing it after that. But look, it entitled to improve. Green is grass the first time and will come on. Destroy the evidence. Typical Kim Bailey, hardy horse. Probably go from the front, be hard to peg back. Kim Barra is in there. John McConnell had went for a long time without any winners. Has had 4 winners in the past fortnight, so 11%. The tide might be turning for his yard. Look, all in all, probably Shanna Bob I would take, but I wouldn't be putting a bet up as of yet. Probably it's between Shanna Bob and Destroy the Evidence. Destroy the Evidence has got to be the one to step forward, but his running style probably may just catch these out. But if Shanna Bob's got half of any potential at all, he should be beating these because it's a bad race.
Yeah, not the best renewal in the world, but I agree with Harry here on the Shorty Evans. I do agree on you as well with the sort of Nicky Henderson thing here with this horse. He's like all the glory. He's a lovely horse. It's actually all the glory is a horse that's in my tracker, and she's a nice horse. It's from her bumper days. I think she showed something at Newbury, and I thought that could be interesting for something else. And she's only won twice since, and one of them was in a mare's novice hurdle, and then another novice hurdle after that. She's been hard to win with. She's not the greatest horse in the world that we've seen, and for a while it looked like all the glory was going better than this Shanna Bob at the top of the market. So look, I on that evidence, I know he's going to probably improve from this, but I'd be leaving him, and Destroy the Evidence is the one for me. Look, like Harry said, ran the handicap last time out, but beat Delicasalunga, who was a fair second to Sandor Clegane at Punchestown when we saw her last season, and even before that was third to Deeply Superficial of Gordon Elliott's, who was a decent mare. Prior to that, beat Monk's Meadow by 15 lengths, who's run a solid race behind East India Express and was actually only 1 length behind Millennium Missile in point-to-point days. So that was Monk's Meadow was behind Millennium Missile. Obviously, Millennium Missile now Grade 2 and around Cheltenham. So sort of collateral form on that is not too bad at all. Even before that, in a novice hurdle, beat Huel Goat of Paul Nichols's, who is now a 129 rated chaser. Beat that by 10 lengths. Looked very easy in the way he did that day. I know that form can't be taken literally because Huel Goat's probably improved for a fence and improved since there, but it shows that he's been beating these horses who have a decent engine under them. He carried 12 stone 2 last time out with no problem. He's got form on any types of ground. He won on good ground 2 starts ago. He won on good to soft ground at Kempton last time out. I think there should be no issue in getting down to soft ground, even though he has been running mainly on good ground. And like Lee said, typical Kim Bailey's horse. I think he could catch a couple of these out here. So 5-1, Destroy the Evidence, I agree with. I also do think Kinbara probably the biggest danger at 12-1, big price. When it was defeated at Cheltenham, the John McConnell stable was massively out of form. He's a lovely horse, and if he does well, then he could lead into some nice form, which we're going to talk about later for a potential Ante-post tip of mine. Gentlemen, those are the races we're taking a microscopic view on. Should we have a look at anything else at Cheltenham across the whole weekend? Any other horses taking your fancy? I'll go Lee first of all. Friday, Saturday, handicaps, whatever race it is there any horse you want to flag up for the viewers?
None for me, no.
Lovely stuff. We'll wait for those declarations to come in. Harry, for you?
Yeah, it's a decent novices handicap chase on Saturday in the same car, the 1240. You've got the likes of Trelawn, Mufasa, obviously now with Paul Nichols. We've all been caught. Are you wise to that? Polish or Polish? You just pronounce him as what you want. Obviously, he was disappointing, but it's a decent race for a handicap. Trelawn obviously would have to carry top weight, and your friend Mr. Coffee, who simply cannot win a race, is back. So that's an interesting one. In the final race on Saturday, Lucia and Theatre Glory could go head to head once again, which is pretty interesting. So that mare's handicap hurdle could be pretty tasty, you could say.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, because Lucia is one of the horses I want to flag up. 3-1. I think it's a fair enough price. I think she ran a good race in the Great Wood, and I think she's a classy horse. I think running off a mark of what's she now 136. She's been had no difference in her weight between now and the Great Wood. I think she's got a great chance. So I'm with Lucia there at 3-1. Also on Saturday, the 115 at Cheltenham. It's a 2.5 furlong handicap chase. In Excelsius Dio is in this race. Now, they did have this horse enter for the December Gold Cup, but decided to come here. I thought that Harry Fry was going to go for the race that Boot Hill won at Ascot, that handicap chase that I think San Segal was going to win. I was almost certain they'd be going to that race with an Excelsius Dio, and they decided to take a swerve. Potentially, they looked at stepping up in trip for the December Gold Cup, but they're keeping it 2 miles. I think in Excelsius Dio 9-4. I think he's a well handicapped horse off 132. So look, I think he should go well. He's won on soft ground before. He's ran well on good ground before. I thought he's a massive eye catcher at Cheltenham at the October meeting behind Dancing on My Own and Triple Trade, and that Triple Trade form has been franked since. So yeah, I'll be with in Excelsius Dio there. That's the 115 at Cheltenham on Saturday, and on Friday, the 150 is a mare's handicap chase, and 11-2 about Walking Clover is a fair enough price for me. Dan Skelton's runner was running a really good race 2 starts ago at Cheltenham October meeting when unseating behind my mate Bozzy. Came massively off the pace, really out quite far at the back, and stayed on nicely, but just unseated rider. Did the same over course and distance. This over 2 miles behind Triple Trade last time out. That was the race that I think I was on Ballybreeze and that unseated at the first, but Calico was second. Triple Trade was the winner and was staying on again that day over 2 miles. I think this horse just needs to be stepped up in trip. Hopefully Dan Skelton's going to do that by sending the horse here over 2.5. Has got an entry for Hereford, I believe. But I dropped down a message the other day, just saying where you think of a Walking Clover, and he's going to go to Cheltenham rather than Hereford. So shows a nice sign of intent to come here rather than probably go to a weaker race at Hereford. And yeah, 11-2 about Walking Clover. That would be for me. So there's a couple to go to war with, but wait for declarations to come out to see where horses are going to be declared at Cheltenham. Gentlemen, we'll move on to the final part of the show, the Ante-post Tip. Now, we sort of thought, with Cheltenham December Meeting not having too many feature races, we'll sort of fill a bit of time by looking at one for the Ante-post future. So either Christmas time, could be in 2 weeks' time, could be whenever we've got markets open. But we're taking a little stab. I'm going to go to Lee first of all. What horse is grabbing you at this stage, an Ante-post fancy for the future?
I'll take Halka de Tarbet for Gordon Elliott. Was a 3-mile point-to-point winner. Won by 45 lengths. Actually beat Born Famous by 49 lengths in that point-to-point. Born Famous is now a 5-time winner. With I think won the Summer Plate in Marker Raisin, if I believe right. But look, I think this horse has got a good chance in the mare's chase. There's a few at the top of the market. I think I don't know if Dino Blue quite stays for me, and Allegory Devassi is an iffy jumper. Look, there's a few in there as well that you might not go. Impervious has got to come back. I don't know if she'll quite make the race as well. So I just think around, well, you've got 10s there. I think 12s might be available, but 10s is fair enough for Halka de Tarbet. Look, won a bumper last season as well. Beat a Willie Mullins horse. Went on to win a 25-runner hurdle race. Beat Ebner Grace, who was a Grade 3 winner for Willie Mullins. Beat by 11 lengths. In there was Broomfield Bijou, I think it was, who went on to win a handicap at the Punchdown Festival. A long way beat was Law Ella, who was second to Ashore Diamond as well in the bump at Aintree. Then went on to be beaten 2.5 lengths by Ashrow Diamond, who won a Grade 1. Was third in the mare's novice hurdle, which I think she was overlooked because she was behind the winner, You Wear It Well. The eye catcher was Magical Zoe. She was ahead of the favourite Lucia, but she was actually third in that race, and I thought that was a solid run. And she's come out and won by 20 lengths over 2 mile 5 in a chase this season on her first run. I just think she's got a lot of potential. She's £260,000 purchase for Kenny Alexander as well, in the famous honeysuckle colours. She's out the a listed winner and a 2 mile 5 winner. Look, this trip will be suited to her. She's got a lot of potential. She's got a lot of form, and they've sent her chasing. And like I say, that 3 mile point to point, look, she's stay all day. That was a 45 length win, not to be mistaken as well. So yeah, look, Helga de Torbet, I thought was very impressive on chase debut, and heard around 10. So the mare's chase will be one for me.
Yeah, she was very impressive on chase debut. I can completely see the case for her. She's, yeah, you've explained that very well. She's got a very good chance there in the mare's chase. Harry, for yourself, what are you potentially having a little look at?
Well, I think it's worth. I think some of the ones that I could put up towards the front of the market, but I've just found one at wild price, and he actually won today. The Jukebox Man for Ben Paulin, who, to be fair to Ben Paulin, he hasn't had the best form of things recently. I mean, the Jukebox Man, albeit he was a very short price to win today as we record on Tuesday. That was his first winner in 22 runs, so he's operating at a really poor strike rate. But this Jukebox Man he's 3 from 3 at Foss last now, and obviously he'll have to end up somewhere bigger now. And I just think for the Albert Bartlett, it looks a wide open race, and if it absolutely lashed it down, I just think this horse could just be so overpriced at 33 to 1. So I'm not saying this horse is going to take up his engagement. I'm sure he's going to be a better chaser than he is a hurdler, because he just looks like it. He looks like he's got the scope to be a better chaser than he is a hurdler. But I just think 33 to 1 wouldn't be the worst bet in the world, given how wide open the Albert Bartlett looks this year. We're not sure what Willie's going to have. Gordon, we're not sure what he's going to have. Paul Nicholls, is he going to have another stay away fay lurking in the distance? So I just think the Albert Bartlett is a race worth taking on an Ante-post point of view. Excuse my dog there. So yeah, the Jukebox Man at 33 to 1. He would be a wild speculation, a wild pick, I should say. I keep getting my words wrong today.
I like what you said there, though. I agree with what you said there on the fact that the Albert Bartlett is potentially a race to have a look at, and you're not sure which one Willie's going to be. Jukebox Man obviously was very impressive today as we record on Tuesday, but I hope I found the one that is Willie's Albert Bartlett horse. I've sort of teased it a little bit on the Sunday show video, but I am going to pull the trigger on him a little bit. I'm with High Class Hero for the Albert Bartlett, 14 to 1. I just really like this horse. I really like what he's shown so far, and like he's not the sort of the classic Willie Mullins sort of type for these novice hurdlers that you see and sort of come through the bumper route from there. Like in the winter campaign beforehand and coming into the spring for bumpers, and then going on to sort of novice hurdle and being the big hype horse on Twitter. You know, his first start for Willie Mullins in a bumper at Listowel in June 2023, beat Kimbara by 6.5 lengths. So look, if Kimbara runs well on the weekend at Cheltenham, that'll be a massive form boost. Then went to a maiden hurdle at Galway and beat Tagman of Henry de Bromhead's. That's decent level of form. You know, Tagman represents a fair level of form, and on first hurdling debut managed to kick Tagman out of the way fairly impressively, and he was still sort of jumping to his left a little bit and hanging to his left. So he did that quite impressively there at Galway at a right-handed track. So it seems like he does want to go left-handed. Then he won at Listowel in a novice hurdle over 2 mile 4 on yielding to soft ground. Again, look, just was very impressive. Reverend Hubert's back in third, who I think is still quite a nice horse for Charles Burns. He maybe didn't show it at Cheltenham, but I think he's still quite a nice horse. Was an 8-length maiden hurdle winner before that coming into the race, and Pink in the Park stablemate was back in fourth. And then in October, went to Limerick for another novice hurdle listed race and beat the Big Doyen by 7 lengths. The Big Doyen's come out since to finish second in a Grade 2 at Cheltenham, third, but in a Grade 2 at Cheltenham behind Manila Missile. That was in the Trust of Trader Novices hurdle. So that form's worked out nicely, and the Woolpark was back in third for Gordon Elliott, who was a fair horse and managed to put 18 lengths between himself and that horse that day. I think he's done both of those performances really, really impressive. I've been really, really impressed with how he's gone about things, and he just looks to have an engine on him. He's really, really exciting to watch on the track. And look, I don't know what other Albert Bartlett horse Willie Mullins could have lurking about, but I think this is the one, really, unless he's going to step up one of his Ballymore horses if they're not finding too much. But I think this is the one. And even going through sort of comments I've read from IrishRacing.com, it seems like they've been looking to step this horse up in trip in time, and those runs are over 2.5. He's won a bumper over 2.5. It looks like he's going to be potentially going down that 3-mile hurdling route, which I absolutely adore. So high class hero for me is the Bartlett horse that Willie Mullins hopefully has, and it's my Ante-post fancy at this early stage for the Cheltenham Festival. Gentlemen, that's all we've got time for. That's all we're covering this week on the video. Very quickly before we wrap up, Lee, Sunday show and competition running. So do you want to run through who we got on the weekend for the Sunday show, and is there still time to enter the competition?
No time to enter the competition, I'm afraid. So was pinned to our profile from Birdie. I'll announce that tomorrow. And Sunday show is Ella McNeil and Nick Lightfoot from Racing TV.
Fantastic stuff. Make sure to tune in 7 to 8 p.m. on Sunday evening. And also make sure to check out the Saturday show at 10:30 a.m. on Twitter, as usual. Run for our final fancies for what will be day 2 of the Cheltenham meeting. So make sure to tune in there, 10:30 a.m. We'll be back. Might be back next week. We're sort of looking at our Christmas schedule, see how things will roll about. We'll be back very, very soon, nonetheless. If you did enjoy, please do like, subscribe. Follow us all on Twitter as well. Follow the main account on Twitter. And if you're having a bet this week, please do gamble responsibly. Cheltenham on the weekend, so it should be a good week for all. Best of luck.